What's up guys, welcome to Sunny Gaming. Today we're going to be checking out the easiest way to beat Messmer the Impaler, an incredibly challenging boss and main character of the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC for Elden Ring. First we're going to check out what Messmer can do. This demigod is capable of absolutely brutal flurries and seemingly endless combos, with every hit dealing a really incredible amount of damage. The first thing to watch out for when you enter the boss room is Messmer's explosive landing, which has him summon a ball of fire around himself and slam down at your location, exploding once more after a brief delay. To avoid this, you need to dodge, pause for a very brief moment, and then dodge again. In close quarters, Messmer can perform a variety of thrusting and sweeping attacks with his spear, which deals both fire and physical damage, with even more fire damage from any attacks when Messmer's spear is on fire. Some of these melee attacks are delayed to catch you as you dodge roll, so recognizing these and pausing before dodging is important for avoiding the damage. If you are at medium range, Messmer will continue to attack with long thrusts from his spear, often stepping forwards to reach a very long range. In addition to this, Messmer can send forth waves of fire, both summoned on their own and as a follow-up from his spear attacks. Dodging backwards can still get you hit since they move a little bit slower, so dodging forwards through them is often best. At long range, Messmer becomes absolutely brutal. He can zoom around the air in devastating spinning attacks before landing flurries of 5 or 6 jabs. He will often follow these combos up with a slam, before summoning an explosion of spears from the ground. Learning the dodge timings on this attack is difficult. The initial spin looks bad, but only the final sweep of it needs to be dodged. Then you need to dodge out of the hitbox of the flurry, or you'll get hit by at least some of the attacks. Finally, you need to dodge the slam, pause, and dodge again to avoid the spear explosion. On occasion, Messmer will jump into the air and throw his spear at you. When this happens, you should dodge towards him and get a couple of hits in while he resummons his spear. Be careful, if Messmer begins running at you with a flaming hand, you will need to dodge at the last moment to avoid a grab attack that will definitely kill you. The transition into Phase 2 has a pretty cool cutscene, and now Messmer can summon colossal snakes to assail you. The thing to remember is that while Phase 2 looks absolutely nuts and chaotic, if you remain calm, it's actually a little bit easier than Phase 1. The beginning of Phase 2 is the same as the beginning of Phase 1, it just looks worse because it's a giant snake. Dodge the fireball and then dodge again straight after to avoid the explosion. Staying close to Messmer is important, as that will limit how much he summons those giant snakes a little. He is still absolutely brutal, performing all of the same melee attacks with even more aggression and more damage, and even a few extra attacks as well, like backsteps. We'll cover how to deal with all of that in the strategy section. When Messmer summons the giant serpents, stay calm. They will raise into the air, open their mouths, and then attempt to bite you. Don't dodge too soon, and don't get overwhelmed by the crazy cinematics. Just pretend it's a jump attack. These attacks can come as a single serpent bite, a single serpent that bites 3 times, or a chaotic mess of a bunch of serpents biting at you one after the other before Messmer performs his devastating combo. Stay calm and don't spam your dodge. Leave a brief gap each time and you will avoid every hit. Be careful of whenever Messmer has a toxic pool growing around beneath him. These will explode, usually with a snake coming out of it to then attack you. So now that we've seen what Messmer can do, let's see what you can do about it. Your damage types are important here, and as you might expect, Messmer resists fire and has decent resistance to holy damage as well. Magic is fine, and lightning seems to be best. There isn't much use in applying Scarlet Rot or poison, despite the fact that Messmer is weak to them, especially the poison, which can be activated in just a few hits. You won't get a chance to apply them in Phase 2, and the transition between phases cleanses status effects from Messmer, so you're better off just dealing direct damage. Messmer does seem to have a weakness to frostbite, and bleed isn't too bad either. If you're built towards intelligent or arcane, these are great options for you to modify your weapons with. If, like me, you don't have those options available, then raw upfront damage works best. That's an important thing to remember, your damage is important. This is a DPS match. Messmer deals an insane amount of damage very quickly, and there is so much room for error in this fight that the best thing to do is put Messmer down as quickly as possible, and for that you need to stack your damage. but also your resistances. That's why I recommend using the Flame Drake Talisman and the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman to boost your fire and physical defense. I also use the Rotten Sword Insignia to boost my attack power, which goes a long way in this fight. The absolute best thing that I can recommend for this fight is to make heavy use of the Bloodhound Step Ash of War. It has been absolutely invaluable throughout the DLC, but this fight in particular definitely calls for it, and will allow you to effortlessly avoid so much damage. It really will carry you through this fight. When you're ready with buffed weapons and stacked resistances, the best thing for you to do is fight in melee range. Stay close to Messmer, weaving between attacks and dodges to deal as much damage as possible. Dodging forwards into his attacks will work best for avoiding most of them, and remember to account for some attacks having a delay. In phase 1, I recommend using a spirit summon to help with the damage output, and a Black Knife Tish is your go-to for her fantastic Ash of War, but if she isn't taking enough aggro, you can switch to something like Banished Knight Oleg, who will tank Messmer for a while. In phase 2, you need to keep up the onslaught, and you must not miss the opportunity to get some hits in on those snake attacks. When Messmer finishes any of the serpent attacks, he is vulnerable. Attack the snake's head when it lands and you'll deal damage to Messmer himself. Now that should be all that you need to know to take on Messmer the Impaler, but if you need more, keep watching. I've included a clip of the full fight so that you can see how it's done. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons and leave your thoughts in the comment section below.